Well, good morning, everyone. It is such a pleasure to have you here today in our Baby Bloomers Urban Farm and Fruit Orchard. And Mayor Bowser, we are just honored and tickled and excited to have you here with us today. We also have some folks for Councilman Trayon White's office. Shout out to Wendy and the team. We also have some ANC commissioners here in the House. We could not do what we do without the support of the community. It takes a village. It really does. So, Mayor Bowser, city officials, financial supporters, media, and just friends of early learning, I am Patricia Brown, and it's my honor to serve as the President and CEO of the National Children's Center. On behalf of my amazing staff, the Executive Director, Dr. Keisha Blythe, and our Board of Directors, my board member, Mr. Joel Limerick, my boss, I have to make sure I recognize him. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to NCC's Early Learning and Early Intervention Center, affectionately known as the ELC. We believe there is no place like the ELC, and so we're honored to have you with us here today. The National Children's Center has supported individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities for more than 60 years. Contrary to our name, we're not just children. We actually support people throughout the entire span of life, from our babies here at the center starting with 8 weeks of age to 5 years. And I think our eldest individual in our residential homes is well into his 80s, and some of our adults actually started with us as children. So we started as children, the children grew up with us, and so we kept the name, but we are everybody. The Early Learning and Early Intervention Program is one of our flagship programs and has been part of the Ward 8 community for 30 years. We have an enrollment of 184 children from ages 8 weeks to 5 years. Our program is inclusion as we support children with and without differing abilities. Every year of a child's life is precious, but we know during the first 3 years, that's really the most important when we think about development. A child's brain undergoes an amazing process. It's when personalities are formed, behaviors are learned, social and emotional skills are developed. It's the foundation for future development. We are investing in the next generation of leaders in the District of Columbia. The ELC is child-centered and family-focused, providing high-quality early learning and resources and coordinated services for our families to promote healthy parenting, lifelong health, strong community, and educational achievement. The work of early learning is serious business. We are honored that you've chosen our location to bring focus to the many initiatives around the city to provide the highest quality of care, support, and education for children and their families. Our Baby Bloomers Urban Farm and Fruit Orchard is an example of the work accomplished in support of the mayor's office. 65 raised garden beds, 14 assorted fruit trees and berries, and last but not least, bees. Our children are studying a garden curriculum, teaching them about healthy food options, where food comes from, and how to plant it. Many of the children, after planting the beds, are now embracing eating vegetables. Can you imagine little babies saying, "I want Swiss chard"? It's a beautiful thing. So many of these beds were planted by our babies and their teachers and families. The Produce Plus program, providing free produce for our families and members of the community, and then monthly cooking classes to ensure that members of the community know how to cook it, how to make healthy meals at home, and help them to understand that it really is not that difficult. All of that is in conjunction with the mayor's 11th Street Bridge Park program. So thank you, Mayor Bowser. We could not do this truly without your support. Our babies are literally eating farm to table. Farm to table. Can you imagine? When I was 2 years old, we didn't have farm to table. Our babies are eating farm to table and enjoying fresh, healthy food options. The District of Columbia expanded its Quinn program, opening an opportunity for our children at our center to receive the highest quality of care and link our families with additional resources and comprehensive and coordinated services. We are appreciative of the mayor's support and investment in our youngest and most vulnerable citizens. We invite you to come back and volunteer on Garden Days. We invite you to join us on October 19th. We are going to have a build day with Kaboom, and we are going to build 2 brand new infant and toddler playgrounds in conjunction with the Washington Redskins Foundation. So if you want to volunteer to come out and help on that day, please join us. We will have stuff for the kids. So if you've got kids, don't worry. There's stuff for them to do. Becky, would you raise your hand if you want to volunteer to sign up today? See Becky Nyack. We've also benefited from the Mayor's Lift program and are creating plans to build a state-of-the-art infant and toddler suite that will allow us to enroll an additional 68 infants and toddlers in our program. With the support of the Lift grant opportunity, we will grow to 252 children. That sounds like a lot, but we have 200 on our waiting list. The need is great. The need is great. The reward is even greater. Our center is a training ground for future professionals as interns from Howard University, George Washington University, Georgetown University, the University of the District of Columbia, and we let the University of Maryland sneak in. Come here to sharpen their skills in various degree programs. We have hosted fellows and center directors from around the world. We will have a group from China here in November. Lastly, I would like to give special thanks to Elizabeth Groginski, OSSI's Assistant Superintendent of Early Learning. She has been a true partner in working with us and providing technical support, acknowledging the need for facilities funding, and just linking us to resources to ensure that we grow and we improve. I feel like we've been on this journey together. Thank you so much. The Bainham Family Foundation for all of your support, not only of NCC, but early learning in the District of Columbia. Our Quinn Hub partners at UPO who work with us and our families to ensure the highest quality of care. Gail, thank you so much for your support. And I circle back to my staff, the best early learning professionals ever. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce one of our strong parent supporters who also serves on OSSI's Quality Council, Ms. Alicia Jackson Gray, who will introduce the mayor. And I also have a little gift for the mayor when you bring her up, Alicia. And at the end of the press conference, we're going to invite all of you to join our babies at the garden beds, and we're going to plant kale, collard, and cauliflower so that we have fresh greens coming soon to a Ward 8 neighborhood near you. So, Alicia, would you come forward? One of our great parent supporters who keeps us all in line. Mayor Bowser, I'm just going to come over here and bring this to you. Thank you. And this is one of our, thank you, one of our NCC t-shirts that talks about us being child-centered and family-focused, and some other NCC memorabilia, and we hope that you will come back and join us again. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Elisa Jackson Gray. I am a Washingtonian, a wife, a mother of 6, a grandmother, an advocator, and a caregiver, the president of the National Children's Center, Quinn Policy Council members, Spaces and Actions. My heart is very compassionate with supporting our families and communities with the necessities of survival and making early awareness and childhood education, housing, job readiness programs, career, health care, in the District of Columbia. I love that we can make a difference with becoming a Tier 1 wraparound services for the District of Columbia communities. So please, let's keep supporting what is preparing our families with a very strong start and helping them to succeed in daily life challenges. I love the fact that the Quinn Early Head Start Child partners are accessible in Wards 7 and 8, which are historically under-resourced. I can see the quality of the comprehensive services in my community. I'm very proud to be able to participate and be supported by OSSI and the United Planet Organization's UPO and the Bainham Foundation. The Quinn has been working for our families, youth, and communities, ensuring that we can ensure ourselves with education, health, and mental care, job readiness programs, careers, our goals, housing, our children having a quality education and nurturing environment. You're like a beacon to our community. I greatly appreciate the Quinn and the National Children's Center. Because of the staff, we are able to be involved as stronger families and communities into our destinations. Their support has enhanced my capabilities to be a leader and advocate for not only my family, but I've had the opportunity to advocate for other families as well. It is true. Give a man a fish for one day, you feed him for one day. But if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. On the behalf of all the children and families, I want to thank Muriel Browser, the State Superintendent of Education, Hansel Kane, Deputy of Division of Early Learning, Elizabeth Grogrinsky, the Quinn, the Hub Team, the National Children's Center, and Bainham Family Foundation. Again, thank you for all that you do for the children and the families. You are a beacon. At this time, it is my pleasure to bring up the Honorable Mayor of the District of Columbia, Muriel Bowser. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes.
Well, good morning, everybody. I am just really delighted to be here today. We couldn't have picked a more remarkable day. And I just have one question before I start. And where are the bees kept? Okay. I just want to know about where are the bees? Let me acknowledge and thank Elisa for those wonderful introductory remarks. I greatly appreciate it and greatly appreciate hearing the impact of a quality center like NCC has had for you and your family. And also see that you have undertaken leadership opportunities here. Frequently, I talk to people about being leaders, and people ask me about being elected and women in politics. And some of the most fierce female leaders that I run into are in schools and child care centers fighting for their kids. So I'm not recruiting you, but I'm just saying that it's a great training ground for leadership. I also want to acknowledge you, Patricia, because you are so supportive of everything that we do, attending events across the city. She always says, I'm from National Children's Center. I say, I know. And I'm glad that we are here at National Children's Center with you. And I have to say that your remarks really summarize the spirit of what we have been doing for 4.5 years. I think, Hansel, you will agree. And that you have just captured how important it is that we are making strategic investments to make the quality of care for our children happen across the city and in all parts of the city. When you said you had a 200-person waiting list, I knew right then for sure that something magic was happening here, because people, they vote with their feet. And they know when something good is happening, they want to be a part of it. And that's why it's so important for us and why we committed early on, and Hansel will talk some about this, in making places that are getting it right. Let's give you more kids to get it right with. And frequently you don't embark on that because of business choices, not because of instructional choices. So part of what we're doing is trying to ease the decisions that you have to make business-wise so that you can focus on your mission of serving more children. Let me recognize Hansel and her team at OSSI. They have done an incredible job. We recruited Hansel from Tennessee, right? nothing wrong with Tennessee, but we're glad we have Hansel in Tennessee, and Elizabeth and her team are very focused on early childhood. Faith Gibson Hubbard has recently joined our team to lead our Thrive by 5 initiatives, which encompass all the work that OSCE's doing, but all of the agencies of the government that impact women and children and affect that 0 to 5 age range. I too, Patricia, would like to acknowledge and thank your board members who are here to support the great work that we are doing. You heard Elisa talk about the QUIN, or the Quality Improvement Network, and the purpose of this network is to help us provide high quality child care through wise investments in family engagement. We have no interest in working with organizations that aren't effective. Okay, so let me repeat that. We have no interest in working with organizations that aren't effective because that is robbing our children. And you don't get to be 6 months or 9 months or 12 months twice. You only get to be those ages one time. And as I have learned firsthand, 15 months in a little person's life, the growth, the change, the absorption, the learning is so dramatic. It's so dramatic. And we have to trust those very precious days to the very best people. And we also want people to know that there are resources for them to improve and to get it right. And that's why we have the QUIN. And we know that with this network, that facilities can receive access to a hub of shared services, including administrative type things that you might not think about, like professional cleaning and credentialed substitute services and more. And through the QUIN, centers have received age-appropriate classroom furnishings, multicultural materials and supplies, and mental health consultations for families and staff. Today, the QUIN provides comprehensive and continuous early Head Start services to more than 600 young people in the District of Columbia. NCC is one of 16 child development centers and 19 child development homes where children are receiving these services. And we're going to continue to build this network out. Earlier this year, we received an additional grant, and we're happy about this, $1.7 million in federal grant money from the Office of Head Start that we will combine with our own local dollars to expand the network to 166 additional infant and toddlers, many from vulnerable families. We will continue to talk about the experiences of moms and our young people through the age of 5 next week on Tuesday, when I will host our second Maternal and Infant Health Summit. And so we want you to be there. We want you to continue to advocate for the women and children that you serve. And we want to continue to add more facilities and more families. So you heard already that Patricia will be able to lower her wait list. And then the other great thing about expanding, sometimes you even have to add a center, right? Hansel, sometimes you do. So we'll think about that too, right, Patricia? Okay, and so we'll keep trying to make that happen. So with that, I would like to introduce 2 members of my cabinet who want to just greet you and briefly talk about the important things that they're working on. Then we'll hear from Marsha Cox Mitchell. I'll take some questions, and then we'll plant with kids. So may I invite Faith and Hansel to come to the podium.
So, good afternoon. I am so excited to be here in this beautiful space with my flip-flops on, which I was able to put on because it was so wet, and I was able to go through the garden, which is so beautiful. I am excited, really, really excited to be here and see some of our youngest scholars joining us now at NCC and to celebrate the great work that you're doing here and the great work of the QUIN. And just the resources that are available that I've seen happen through the QUIN as I've been able to experience is just phenomenal. So let me stop and introduce myself. My name is Dr. Faith Gibson Hubbard, and I am honored to be the first executive director of the Mayor's Thrive by 5 Coordinating Council. And I am sure, thank you. And I am sure, just as when we were at another great event yesterday, people were wondering, what is Thrive by Five? And so I'm glad that you asked. Thrive by Five is a manifestation of our city's commitment to maternal health and early learning development for our youngest DC residents. It is definitely no secret that there is great work going on in the District of Columbia within our agencies and with non-governmental partners. But what we know is that making even deeper investment is really important to ensure that the families have the positive outcomes that they so desire and that they deserve. And those key components can not just have our families survive, but we definitely want to see them thrive and have all the resources they could possibly have. And so with Thrive by Five, we are here to spark collaboration, coordination, and partnership with families, with our government agencies, and definitely with partners like NCC. And so you heard the mayor mention earlier that we are having the second National Maternal and Infant Health Summit on September 10th. And I know that everyone here has already RSVP'd, but just in case you have not, you can go to dcmaternalhealth.com and do so. Thrive by Five is so excited to work with the mayor to host this very important conversation, as we know there are so many more conversations to be had. So while I am the executive director of this great initiative, I am also a mommy, and I have seen what early learning can do. And what I know is that as a parent, I always want to be considered as a leader. I want to be considered as an expert in my own child and be in partnership with the child care center where my child is attending. And so the Quinn and the Early Head Start model is something that we can all believe in. We know that families have expertise. We know that their children also know what they want to do with their education. And so watching that happen within the Quinn and being able to expand that, this resource hub that families need, is something that is all of our collective responsibility. We are all responsible in ensuring that families are able to receive these resources, not only here at NCC, but throughout our great city. And this is one of another great investment that we've seen that's important to our mayor and so many of our other agencies. And so I want to thank Elizabeth Groginski for your great partnership, and thank NCC for all the wonderful work that you're doing, and all of the other child care centers that we also know are providing this high quality access, not only for our young scholars, but also for their parents to be the leaders that we want to see in the District of Columbia. And so now I have the pleasure of introducing a really great colleague of mine and great leader in our city, our State Superintendent of Education, Hansel King.
Thank you so much, Faith. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your incredible leadership and vision around early childhood education, ensuring that we are creating better access to and quality of early care and learning throughout the city. So truly, thank you. And thank you to Elisa Jackson-Gray, who's one of our incredible parent leaders that we are so blessed to be able to learn from and work in partnership with as we are creating this experience for more and more families. I think actually one of my first official events on my very first day was joining the mayor to announce the launch of the Quality Improvement Network. And so more than 4 years later, it's incredible to see how the Quinn has blossomed and grown to be able to support more and more children and families throughout the city. As the mayor said, we've now expanded to have 2 hubs serving 16 child development centers and 19 child development homes serving more than 600 children. We use the Head Start program performance standards and research-based best practices, and we employ professionals who provide support to directors, teachers, children, and families so that we can help everyone truly experience this level of quality care that we want to have happen. The supports we provide include coaching, professional development, and comprehensive services for children and families, really recognizing that intersection between education and health, with family engagement and support, health and nutrition, and mental health and early intervention services as well. Teachers in the Quinn have access to professional development on how to use developmentally, linguistically, and culturally appropriate tools to monitor their children's progress and to partner with families on their children's development. Families have access to parent cafes where they can bolster and support one another and leverage each other's leadership and help make decisions and inform the program's direction through parent committees and the Quinn Policy Council, where parent voice is at the heart of guiding the work that we do. The Quinn expansion will focus our outreach and recruitment on children and families who receive TANF, children involved in the child welfare system, children experiencing homelessness, and children with special needs so that we can support even more of our most vulnerable families throughout the city. I'm so proud of the work that we have all done collectively to improve access to high-quality, comprehensive, and continuous early Head Start services for low-income children, and we are confident that we are going to be able to reach a bold goal that we have set at OSSI of having 1,500 more vulnerable infants and toddlers toddlers in high quality care by 2023. We can only do that through the strong partnerships we have built, including with all of the folks here today. And so we're so excited to celebrate this progress with all of you and look forward to much more work to come.
And now I have the pleasure to introduce one of our partners in this work. And I should say we have been able to do a lot in the District of Columbia in education, in making education investments and being innovative because of our philanthropic support. And this effort is a recipient of that support as well. So I know the council member would join me in saying how happy we are to have the Bainham Foundation be a part of this effort. So please help me join Maria Cox-Mitchell.
Good afternoon. Mayor Bowser, thank you for inviting us to be a part of this celebration of the progress we've made for young children and families in the district. As an organization committed to improving the availability of services and resources for children living in poverty, the Bainham Family Foundation is pleased to be a part of this collaborative effort to improve early learning quality and access across the district. As we all know, and we're going to keep saying it, the first 3 years of a child's life are the most critical. They lay the foundation for lifelong learning and success. We also know that this bold goal of improving quality and availability of early learning is dynamic. It requires many complex components, which is why our investments have been just as dynamic. We've invested in supporting and sustaining the Quinn. We've invested in family engagement supports. We've invested in providing coaching and training for early childhood educators, the most important ingredient in quality. We've provided comprehensive services to support families as well. Mayor Bowser, we value our strong partnerships with the district, in particular with OSSI's Division of Early Learning and the DC Council. We also know that while philanthropic organizations like the Bainham Family Foundation can play an important role, we can certainly explore solutions together, we can make key investments, we can mobilize other resources. But to make sure that our investments are sustainable and adheres to the principles of diversity and equity, we also need to make sure that government provides additional resources to bear. So today, as we acknowledge and celebrate the impact we've all made with children across the districts and specifically here at NCC, it is an important step forward for our community, but we know there's more to come. Together we can put in place a comprehensive system of supports and resources Together we can put in place a comprehensive system of supports and resources for young children and their families and ensure that all children in the district across all wards are able to thrive and reach their full potential. Thank you.
So with that, I'll take a few questions from our friends in the media, and if there are any community questions, I'll take them after that, and then we're going to plant with these lovely young people. Yes, sir.
How you doing over here?
I'm well.
Happy belated birthday, by the way. Real quick, I know investing in early childhood care and development, that's been a hallmark for your administration. How does it make you feel to see NCC and this project come to fruition?
Well, we're very proud of NCC, and NCC has had a long history of serving our community. And I'm also proud that they have embraced growth and can speak from firsthand experience about how these investments are going to make quality programming available to more DC families, especially families right here in Ward 8.
Because of what you're doing, how many more children will be served?
I think we have 166 new spots as a result of this recent investment. Any other questions?
Off topic questions?
Okay.
Okay. One question I have is, The police yesterday decided to release photographs. I guess they've done it in the past, but this is a new effort. Release photographs of people on ATVs to see if they can be identified. What are your thoughts?
Well, that's what we're going to do. We have done, and it has been successful for us. ATV use on streets is illegal. People, mostly adults, are also driving recklessly, illegally on the streets. And so we don't want anybody to get hurt, and we don't want an arrest or anything like that related to something so frivolous to affect somebody's life. So we're asking their loved ones, their moms, their daughters, their girlfriends, their sons, their employers to say, come on, let's be reasonable, follow the law, and not use this. We can confiscate the vehicles. We're also asking business owners if they see people congregating to fuel these vehicles, then we need to know about that too. Yes, sir.
I actually do have another off-topic question. This may seem random. Have you seen the latest Chappelle Show stand-up yet?
I haven't.
I haven't. I know he was given the key to the cities, about to get the Mark Twain Award for comedy. I know it's been very controversial. He made comments about members of the LGBTQ, and some people are considering it kind of inflammatory. I was just wondering if you had any comments about the fact that these inflammatory jokes were made, and it's kind of causing a stir.
I haven't seen it, so I won't comment on it, but he's a great artist from the District of Columbia and a graduate of DC Public Schools. Thank you.